I'm Alex.
And I'm Rob.
I'm from Novi Sad, Serbia.
And I'm from New York City.
I'm a Scorpio.
I'm a Taurus.
I'm a man.
And I'm a woman.
We are both very different.
And yet, we have a lot to talk about. Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning into our episode on travel. We just have two things that we want to address before you take a listen. One is that Alex's audio somehow got a little distorted, so sorry about that. And the other thing is that at one point, I will be talking about a town in Massachusetts that I refer to as Burlington, but I actually meant to say Great Barrington. So to all you Massachusetts residents, I'm so sorry. It's definitely a cringe moment as I say it like 5 times, but at least you know ahead of time that I am at least aware of my geographical fumble, so my apologies. Anyway, we decided to move forward and produce this episode because we felt that the content would be great for you listeners who want to know more about us. That being said, we have a great episode for you.
So when you were a kid, did you travel a lot?
We didn't really do a lot of vacations. I think when I was really little, we used to go to my grandmother's house in the Adirondack Mountains in New York State. She had like a little ski cabin, but we'd go there during the summers.
Cool.
But what did you travel as a kid?
Well, like a few times. Going on a summer vacation. Like
what was your first memory?
My first memory was I think I was 3 years old. It was in Croatia, like a summer vacation with my parents, obviously. But I don't really I remember few things, just like basically like a few scenes, if you will. And also that's a combination of things, I would say. Like some things, you know, when you have like a memory when you were like really little, and then you have photos that you saw, so you kind of probably have more like kind of memories because of the photos you have in an album than actual memories. So I cannot really tell if it is real memories because I was not even 3, I think, but could be possible, yeah.
But you have the pictures of it?
I mean, pictures of that holiday. So I have like I remember like we have a picture of our like hotel room and bed and everything, and I remember that. I also have a picture of that. So you know, I don't know it like if it is.
Were you close to the Serbian border? Like, where in Croatia did you guys go?
We went to Pakoštan is the name. I don't know. It's not really that close. But I actually don't know the position, to be honest. But I know it's not close. It should not be like close. So, but used to be the same country back then, so it was like a normal thing. Yeah. So it was 89.
Yeah. When I was a kid, we used to go on like a lot of day trips. Because, like, a very common thing in the States is when you have vacation off from school, like, if you have, like, a week off from school in February, people will go to, like, Disney World or something. And we didn't really do that. Over the summers, like I said, we would go to my grandma's house in the Adirondacks. Something that we used to do is we would go on little day trips to towns on, like, the border of New York because we were really close to the Massachusetts border and the Vermont border. So we'd go to, like, Burlington, Massachusetts, or we'd go to, I don't even remember the name in Vermont. Just this tiny little town in Vermont. And we'd go there for the day, and then we'd go home. That was always really fun.
What was in Burlington? Something to see? Nothing?
Yeah, there's actually, so in Burlington, there's a really big, the Berkshire Mountains in general have a really big arts industry. So there's, like, a lot of theater, dance, music. So it's a really big tourist destination for people from the northeast of the United States. And there's like this famous inn called the Red Line Inn, which, like, if you know type place.
Oh.
We never like stayed there, but like you could have like breakfast there or you know, or just walk by it. It's like, but pretty much like we go to like a tiny town, a tiny little resort town, which ironically I feel like is probably as far away as the Croatian border is from where you grew up.
Yeah.
And we would just like go that would be our day trip.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. We used to go to. Did you go on a day trip in elementary school? We used to have that also.
Oh,
and
like with the school?
7 and 10 day trips.
Yeah. Yeah. We would actually, ironically, it would be again in the mountains. We'd go to the mountains, and usually there'd be like an organized camping trip that the actual establishment was in charge of. So the school would just kind of drop us off with them.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was like a 1 day thing for a day. We also used to do that. Besides like having, did you guys have like in elementary school, like once a year, sometimes twice? I think in this. Let me think. In the winter, like school break, we will go to like 7 days or 10 days, can't remember. Like excursions, like we will go to mountain or somewhere like that. That was super fun.
Oh, that's nice. You do that every year?
Yes.
Oh my god, that's really nice. We didn't do that stuff.
After like so you have like 8 grades, and after 5th grade we even went like twice, because you were kind of older, so you could have go with so professors would have like their own excursions that they will organize during the winter break. But also there is like I think it was spring break also, or a few days. So yeah, basically you could have gone like twice.
Nice.
For like 7 days or something in
Was it expensive, or was it part of the school pricing?
no, it was like you would have to pay, but I think it was not that expensive. I didn't go like to every I mean, my parents were paying. Well, I guess it was expensive. Maybe if I'm like, you know, if I ask them, it was expensive. But I don't know. It wasn't that bad. I know that I skipped some of those. It depends. Like if you don't want to go like in some mountain in the middle of winter, you didn't go. You know. Yeah. I mean. And I was pretty reasonable kid. So if my parents told me like we don't have money or something, I would be like okay, whatever. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
So same deal was for toys, I guess. So what ended up happening, I was buying my own Legos because they were expensive. I was saving money, blah blah blah. Yeah.
You're like, I need these Legos, so I will use my money to do this.
Yes.
If you people won't pay, I'll pay.
I'll pay. Yeah. They were just a short comment. Legos, they were never cheap. So.
Well, for us, we would do like a lot of the times it would be day trips, especially in high school. In high school, because I went to a very unique school, we would do a lot of field trips. To places around the region, which might take the whole day, but they were very like specifically for certain classes. But for one class, because I took Mandarin Chinese in high school, so we went. Well, I totally forgot about this. How did I forget about this? I went to China. I was like one of the first groups through the school to go to China because we have a sister school in Tianjin. And we went for 5 days, and that was really fun.
That's cool.
And they also, I think, organized field trips to Haiti, because one of our teachers was Haitian, and she did a lot of outreach work there.
Oh.
But what we definitely did every year is we'd go to New York City, and we go to Chinatown, because I'm originally from Albany, so it's like 2.5 hour drive.
Yeah.
And my dad would always offer to chaperone because he and Mrs. Lim, my Chinese teacher, were like BFFs.
Oh my god.
So him and her had so much fun together. No, really, they had so much fun together. Because she's very, very much like she wasn't strict, but she was very like, oh, this is what we're gonna do and this we're gonna do. And my dad would be like, ooh, let's try this. And she would totally, you know, if anybody else said it to her, she'd be like, no, we're doing this. But if my dad said it, she'd be like, okay, let's try this other thing. So that was always really fun. So I got to travel with my favorite thing when I was growing up was going on road trips with my dad. Like I said, those little day trips. Or when we go to Chinatown, it was always a lot of fun because when he was, the chaperone, all the kids in my group would be like, we have the fun dad. Like,
Oh my god.
did you guys have like chaperones for these like 7-day excursions?
Yeah, of course. I mean, just like
Were they teachers or were they
yes,
like other
yes,
parents?
teachers. And usually, let me think, at least two or no more, because we were, so in my elementary school was like 3 classes basically for a year. So for we are all born the same year, but like it was three classes basically of 30 people. So every class, the system is that you have one teacher, usually female, until like 4th grade, up until 5th grade. So every class had their own teacher, and all 3 of them went with us, of course, especially like there is like a lot of kids, so so yeah, 3 I would say. Yeah, sometimes they would, I think, take extras or something, but basically like every class was having, I guess it was like nerve-wracking for them. That's like a big responsibility. I mean, you can imagine. Yeah.
So then once you were an adult, what was like the first place that you went to like on your own?
On my own, let me think.
Like for like a vacation or a trip?
Yeah, with my friend in Greece. We went to Tassos, the island.
I've never been to Greece. It's on my list.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a few times, so yeah, that was the like first thing that it was always like some kind of trouble finding somebody that either has time or money. So I'm not a big social guy, so I don't have like a lot of friends.
How old were you
Back then?
Yeah, when you went to Greece for the first time.
Well, that was like 5 years ago, so that will be like 20.
Oh, really? That was like your first time like going on a big trip alone?
Oh, I'm lying. Maybe, let me see. Oh, now I'm rewinding. I went like 2 years before that. Yeah, 2 years before that I went to Montenegro. That's like next to Serbia. It's like butt fuck nowhere, but so it's not like, that was like kind of okay. I mean, I know people who had a house there, so it was like it was cheap. Yeah, that was before this. Yes. So yeah. But this was in Greece. It was like a full on like road trip, because we went with a car. So we were driving towards Greece. We were driving the whole day to go there. So it was like yeah, it was fun. So that's why I totally forgot this, and because like for us, like when you go to Montenegro, it's kind of a really okay. I really just if you need to go. So
yeah,
it's not so bad, but it's not like not something that I really like.
Yeah.
So yeah, what was your first?
Well, going to China was the first, but that was like really organized with my school, so I wouldn't really count. I mean, that was like the first time that I left the country besides going to Canada, which for us in New York, going to Canada is like going to another state.
Yeah.
But I honestly, when I was just thinking about this, when I was in college, I used to travel so often because I was studying musical theater. So we would have auditions all over the country. So I'd go with my friends, and then once I was, a junior or a senior in college, we'd just start going on road trips together to the Berkshires, we went to LA. That was really fun.
But that was like organized by yourself, or?
Yeah, when I went to LA, that was completely organized by myself. I had no idea what I was doing. A bunch of my friends were going. I had never been to the West Coast before, and I had a friend who was living in one of the dorm rooms in our, because our college has another campus over in LA, and I had a friend who was staying in one of the dorms, and we actually weren't that close, and it didn't end very well. But Yeah, but it was still really fun. It was still one of my favorite trips from college. But I guess the really first time I ever lived somewhere alone and traveled around on my own was when I went to a summer intensive, I guess, camp in Boston at Boston University when I thought I was going to be an actor.
Actor.
And I was like really into the avant-garde artsy stuff. So that was a really, really fun time. And I still have some friends that I talk to from
time to time
from that program. Yeah. But and then lucky for me, I mean for both of us, then we've been able to travel for our
job
professions.
Yes. I agree.
I've been all over the US, which is pretty great. What type of places do you like to visit?
Well, usually ones with sea.
Oh yeah, because of cruising?
Yeah.
Or because of you just like the beach?
Yeah, I mean, let's say places that I like happen to have a sea. So yeah, but I don't know, nothing specifically. I must say, like big towns in like Europe can be interesting. They don't have to have a sea next to it. So like visiting like some like capital cities or something, you know, like just to visit the city itself. That's also can be fun. But then again, you can go like on summer holiday somewhere next to the sea. That's also, I wouldn't say that I have like one specific thing. You know, there are people like they just go to the mountains, let's say in the summer, in the winter, you know. Do you have anything like any type of place that you prefer, or?
Well, I mean, like in general, like similar to what you're saying, like people just go to the mountains. If you're living in a city, people go to the mountains. If you're living in the mountains, people then go to the city.
Yes.
But for me, the type of places, honestly, this past year going to Europe for the first time, well, besides Ireland, which is a whole other story that we'll probably get into. But going to Europe in general, I love historical places. I love museums. You know this about me. I love museums.
Yep, I know.
I love learning about the local culture. So if there's a place that is really unique like that, I want to visit it. So that's the type of places that I like to visit. And honestly, if it has a beach, that is a really great asset.
Yeah.
I'm totally for the beach.
I know that you like museums and that. I've been a chaperone, so I know.
Yeah.
So what about Ireland? What happened there?
Oh, well, I mean, so this kind of gets into our section of like, what is the worst travel experience I've ever had? Which, so my brother was studying in Ireland for a while, and when he graduated, we were like, this is the time that us as a family will go to Ireland to see him for the first time since he's been there. So we decided to travel alone because my parents had organized their own trip, and then I was like, hey, can I get on board? And they were like, sure, because of being an actor, usually around the summertime and spring, my schedule is completely crazy. So I don't really know if I have time, and I happen to have time in April of that year.
Right.
And ironically, a few days before I was supposed to go on the trip, Norwegian Cruise Lines called me and offered me a job, and I turned it down, and I was like, it's fine. I'll never end up on a cruise ship. Years later, end up on a cruise ship.
Yep.
But anyways, so the ride there, I rode alone on the plane, and I was in between two children who were actually pretty good. But you know, like just from being on a plane, when you're in the middle seat.
Yes.
Because I couldn't choose my seat because my parents got it through a travel agency.
Right.
When you're in the middle seat, it's probably the worst because you can't lean on the window and you can't like go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And it was also overnight, so I like didn't sleep.
Oh.
And
that sucks.
Then when the trip was coming to an end, when the plane was landing, the kid next to me started throwing up, and I was like, this is horrible. So I get there.
Yes. I
didn't sleep. It's 6 a.m. Irish time.
Nice.
I have no idea what it was at home. It's probably like midnight or something. Hadn't slept. Was feeling like really sick, so I get myself some ginger ale. And then my parents arrive like maybe an hour later. Get in the bus because we were going on with a bus tour. horrible
the whole
with
shebang.
like other Americans.
Oh,
So-
nice.
So we get to the hotel and I'm searching for my wallet and I realize I don't have my wallet. I don't have my passport. I don't have anything.
Oh,
And my parents were like, well, we got to get this bus tour on because our idea was to go on a bus tour first and then we'd hang out with my brother in Dublin for 4 days after. And I'm like, guys, I can't go around the entire country without a wallet or a passport. And they're like, it's fine. Adam, my brother, they're like, Adam will figure it all out for you. Sure enough, what had happened was I left my wallet when I was super tired in the airport.
oh,
But then they were like, then there was this whole thing where they were holding it for ransom. So like my brother couldn't pick it up without paying like an astronomical
Really?
fee for them finding it. The trip, in the end, the trip was fine. But the whole beginning, man. it
from
was
the
not
beginning
good.
seems that you're kind of a afterthought with
Yes.
the cards and with the tickets and
Yes,
everything.
yes. So it was already like, this is not a good idea because
Sounds
you
like
weren't
it.
even planned in the plan. And now
Yeah.
everything has gone wrong on your end. So, oh my god.
Yeah.
And as you know from me visiting you, I'm really bad with jet lag. So,
Yes, I know. It's like that's a whole separate episode can be about your jet lag experience.
just being jet
or
lagged.
or yes, or my jet lag experience with your jet lag experience.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. But honestly, until because you have not really had to go through that many time zones. Usually, it's like even if there was a 4-hour time zone, you get there slowly. You know.
Yes.
You haven't had to deal with like the 12-hour. I mean, going to China, man.
Yes. That's because I live on the good part of the planet, in the middle.
Yeah. You get to visit different cultures very quickly.
Yes.
As opposed to the United States, it's just like
Yeah. And
United
if you think about it, like for you, like you said, you probably like my trip was your like longest your trip to like Croatia or something. But then again, in few hours we can be in the other country, explore something else. Whereas you are still in the same country on the same continent.
mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that you cannot see something else. Probably you can, but still,
Yeah. So
My your question was like, what's
your worst travel experience?
I didn't have a lot like bad travel experiences that I can think of.
That's good for you.
Like,
I've had quite
Yeah.
many, but the Ireland trip definitely ticks the box.
I probably had like few, but yeah, my brain works like that I suppress things. I definitely remember when I was a kid, like me and my mom, we were visit her like small village which is outside of my town for like an hour drive with a bus. At that time, like we will go like with a bus, and then like bus would have I think it happened just once. It was very old and it was like noisy, and it was summer, and of course no AC. What the hell is that? And fumes from the engine were coming into the cabin itself, so it was noisy, sweaty, and very pukey like because
of the fumes.
Yes, yeah, and I remember I was like sick of like traveling, especially in buses when I was little. If I was sitting towards the end, I would like get a little bit
Car sick.
I will get nausea. Yeah. I mean, it just stopped at one point, so I'm not like somebody would be like will be puking or thinking about puking even on the front seat of the car, which is ridiculous to me now. But I didn't have those problems then, but back of the bus, yes.
Yeah, my dad has always had a lot of trouble with like car rides, but I will say I've ridden many a bus in my life, especially again auditioning, working, and as an actor. I'm constantly traveling. And when I was in college, I used to always go between Boston and New York, which is about a 6-hour bus drive. And there are some good bus companies, and there are some bad bus companies. And let me tell you, when you get a bad bus company, it's bad. One time, we were riding on a megabus, it's like a double-decker bus, like the ones that you see in London, but it's blue. And the window, I don't even know how to explain this exactly because it's so crazy that it even happened. But the window, which is basically the whole wall of the second floor of the bus, was flapping in the wind. I was like sleeping. I like woke up and I look up and there's just like, and so everyone's freaking out on the bus and they're trying to tell the bus driver like, hey, the window's falling off. And he's like, no, it's not. I would know. But like, no, you have to stop and pull over and look up. And the second floor, it's falling off. And sure enough, like finally, like after a half hour, he pulls over. He goes, oh yeah, well, I guess we're gonna have to wait for a new bus. And then we have to wait on the side of the road. I mean, I used to have to wait on the side of the road so often with the megabus. And I would still ride it because it was so cheap.
Oh yeah.
That I was like, and I had to do it so often that I was like, honestly, you know, I just am planning for an 8-hour day.
Yeah. Well, when it's cheap. What's your biggest surprise, like, with the place that you visit, or like, what was the like when you go somewhere and you don't expect anything and you like stumble upon something, interesting?
Honestly, I've mentioned this to you before, but when I went to London, I had been dreaming my entire life of going to London.
I know the story.
I've been dreaming my whole life. I like grew up watching like BBC, like that type of network television. I was like, I'm destined to live here. We get to London. So disclaimer, Alex and I worked on a cruise ship together, and one of our destinations was Dover on our itinerary. And we were able to take a bus to go into London from Dover. So my friend Rafa and I decided to go. My friend Rafa is Italian. She had never been to London before either. She was really excited to get some English pancakes. I don't know why that was on the itinerary, but it was something that was very important for us to do. And we also didn't do it. But we had no plans, and we just arrived.
I bet Rafa was excited. Full stop.
Oh, she was very excited. We were both excited, to be fair. But we got there and we had no plans. We just walked around. One of my favorite parts was we were looking for Covent Gardens. And we were going up and we were like, we would just love to see a nice botanical gardens. Like, we would love to see that. So we're like, you know, walking all around. We go by Westminster Abbey and we're like, pretty. Oh, Big Ben, nice. So we wander over to the area that we think is Covent Gardens, and it's, you know, kind of like bustling. I think the theater district is over there, and so we like ran into some theaters. We're like, oh, cool. You know, we're both actors, so we're like, this is fun. So we go up to this guy and we're like, we're looking for the botanical gardens. He goes, the botanical, we're like, yeah, Covent Gardens. And he starts laughing at us. He goes, this is Covent Gardens, and it's actually a district.
Oh.
So, moral of the story, you should definitely look things up before you travel. But it was a really fun trip, but it was nothing like I'd ever expected my first trip to London to look like. I didn't think I'd arrive by cruise ship.
Cruise boat.
Help me.
Jesus.
I didn't think I'd arrive by cruise ship, and I did not think that I would arrive without any plan. But it ended up being great. It was an awesome trip. What about you?
Definitely. I tell this to everybody. Riga, the capital city of Latvia.
Latvia.
Definitely that we were like, if you've never been, like,
I have not.
Not you, but like, yeah, I know. But generally speaking, so people, if you've never been there, you should go. I arrived there like blank sheet of paper. I didn't like have my, you know, prejudice against them. I didn't know anything about it. I just know that like the position of it, blah blah blah. But I didn't know like what to expect really. But I was like, let's see, and it is beautiful. So, from the boat, as you would say, or actually ship, it's like 10 minutes slowly walking to the old town. It was like the nearest port that we ever had, like to the everything happening. So and we had overnight there,
nice.
Which means for the people who never been there, it's like the
ship stays in port overnight.
Yes, and you can go out to do whatever, party usually. So yes, that's like and it's old town. It's like beautiful. It's like 11th or 12th century.
Wow.
it's that old, and it has like fortress, and the town itself is like also a combination of old and new. And it was like Thursdays or something, but it was still, or even one time was Tuesday, I think. So we went there like think 4 times or 5 even. It was something crazy. I had I've been out like I think almost every time. So, and we went out to like a karaoke place and to Latin place, like Latino music. My friend Sydney, she sang in a theater. So she still is a professional singer. So we were like, let's go out. She was like, I know how to sing.
Oh, you guys go to the karaoke bar.
Yes, and I was like, let's go sing. And she was like, what? No, go sing. Yeah.
Singers hate that, by the way.
Yeah, I was like, go. She was like, I don't know the song, but there is like it's like a karaoke machine, so you have like everything. Go. Oh, whoa, okay. Saying hi to Sydney if she listens to this. Yeah, so that's the surprise that I definitely like the biggest ratio between expectation and actually like what you encounter with when you come there. You know, for some towns you kind of know, but for this I didn't know anything, so I was like, okay, let's see.
That's the best thing about being on a cruise ship, which of course we'll have another episode on that entirely.
Oh, yeah.
But
Or few.
Some of the best parts about working on a cruise ship is you don't necessarily know the place that you're going to, or you're just traveling so often, so much that once you get like a few months into the contract, you start going places that you're not paying attention to, and then you get surprised because you're like, oh, I wasn't even expecting to love that place so much. Oh, and great, I'm going to go back another 7 times because of this itinerary.
Yeah, it is. Like I told you the other day, like for the Stockholm, I didn't think that I would go like in span of like 2 months or even less. I think 2 months, let's say. I went like 4 times. I was like, if I go once there in my life, I would be happy.
Yeah. And then you actually got to.
Yeah. Yes, multiple times. It's crazy. It's great. That's what it is.
So what place are you looking forward to going next when you can next travel?
That's a good question.
If you were cute, you'd say, anywhere you go, honey.
Yes, something like that. I mean, we were thinking about going to like normal places and we couldn't, so I guess at this point everything goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I would like to go maybe like if it is like a summer, or not even summer, but let's say if it is a summer like Greece. It's kind of near to here, so you know, I would like to go again. Maybe that, but some other like destination in Europe used to be like fine to go and easy, not expensive, and yeah. So, but let's say Greece. Yeah. What about you?
I really want to go to Portugal again because when we went, it was raining in every port that we went to. We went to...
Oh, I remember.
Puerto? Is that what it's called? I don't even remember. And Lisbon.
Yes.
Lisbon I was looking forward to going to so badly because there's a soap shop that I really like. And you can only get there's well now they have a store in New York City, of course. But I was really excited to go there, but it was raining, so I'm hoping that, you know, next time I go it'll probably be summertime instead of winter, and maybe it won't be raining, then I can actually enjoy the city.
Yeah, I remember you went during the day and it was raining. I went during the night and it was raining on and off, but we went outside for different reasons.
I will say, actually, when we were arriving into Lisbon, because we were both standing together while we were watching the sail-in, which is supposed to be one of the most beautiful sail-ins of a cruise ship into a port in
it was
a European
fog.
city, and it was just fog. Yes. So good.
But we did see like 50 meters from the ship, let's say, and we did see that big bridge, but it was fog.
Yes. Well, we didn't see the bridge until we were under the bridge.
Yes,
we
and
were,
it
like,
was pouring
only a few
rain.
meters from the bridge. So
yes.
That being said, specifically when you're traveling somewhere new, What would you do differently if you could do it all over again?
For some, because I went mostly for the work. Sometimes we would have like 3 flights for a day, which is kind of exhausting. And it was like, let's say average flight is like 2 hours. Doesn't seem much, but when you have like usually these days is like your preparation for the flight is longer than a flight, especially if flight's not like 6 hours or something.
Yeah.
It's kind of exhausting. We sometimes we had like 2 flights, then overnight we will go. I mean, it was fine in the end, but just saying like I would do that differently. Definitely in my arrangement, if I'm going somewhere, I would not like do 3 flights in a day. Two it's tops. I can withstand it, of course, but you know.
It's crazy how a direct flight can change your entire life.
Oh.
Even 2 flights compared to 3.
It
really makes a huge difference.
You're talking for experience. There you go.
I know.
She's a very comfy Taurus. Direct flight to the max.
We'll talk about that later. I mean, I can't even think of most of the time when a trip comes to its end, kind of like what you were saying, and that you kind of only remember like the positive experiences. By the time a trip is coming to the end, you're like, I mean, those things happened, but it wasn't really a big deal. So most of the time, I can't really think of anything other than, I would probably agree, like, flights are probably the worst part of most trips. And besides the flights, I would say sometimes I go to places without a plan because I kind of don't want to have high expectations and then be disappointed if I miss something. That's something I've always done, even in college when I would go places. But sometimes I wish I did a little bit more research on places because they end up being really cool, especially on the cruise ship where you don't necessarily know like the small, tiny island you're going to, but there's something that's on that island that is really interesting and then you miss it because you didn't think to research ahead of time. So that's definitely something.
But good thing is with the cruise ship you can always ask somebody, usually scouts, that go outside with the passengers, so they know everything that is to know about the certain port that we're in. So that's like a kind of for the future reference.
That's true. If we ever get back to our old jobs.
Dun, dun, dun. Yes.
Recently, during this pandemic, I was able to actually travel to Serbia to visit Aleks, which is crazy. If you asked me that like 2 months ago, I would have been like, you're nuts. There's no way. This pandemic is going to last forever, which it's still lasting. Don't get me wrong. I know it's still a thing. We were able to kind of find a moment in time where both the Serbian case numbers and the United States, I shouldn't say the United States, the New York State numbers were getting low because the rest of the United States was like
that
not
was more
doing well.
Specific.
Yeah, so I was able to travel to you.
Yes.
And that was awesome.
I'm glad. That was long overdue.
Yes.
If you ask me.
Yes. I mean, we hadn't seen each other in 6 months, which is insane.
Yeah.
But we got through it, baby.
Yeah, that's true. I'm glad you made a leap. That was brave thing to do, especially knowing that basically you didn't went outside of the apartment, more or less. You did.
Yeah, we really didn't.
Yeah, you.
I mean, I haven't even seen my parents but I mean, I guess I have less worries about getting you sick than I do about my parents.
Yeah, that's true.
But I had a direct flight from JFK to Belgrade, which
to Nikola Tesla
really made all the difference. And then on the way home, I got upgraded to business class, which in the future, when things are cheaper, I will definitely do because, my God, I felt like a queen.
Yeah.
It was the first time I was ever in, because Air Serbia's business class is actually their first class. So that was the first time I was ever in first class, and I was like, my Jesus, I am just being treated so nicely.
Yeah, this is great. I'm Taurus, I'm enjoying this. This is so cozy.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, so you would say that it was a fine experience. I mean, the travel itself.
Yeah, I would say if I could do it again, I would take advantage of those. I was able to have 2 free large luggage for the trip,
Yes.
and I didn't take it, and I would have, because then I would have just, first of all, you're in need of luggage, so I would have brought you some luggage with nothing in it.
Yes.
Also,
Yeah.
the food and snacks in Serbia is something I'm really missing.
Really? You never told me that. This is new.
Yes. Well, I mean, you do know about the Melka situation.
Oh,
Alex
yeah.
and I were lucky enough to try this new Melka candy bar concoction that came out, and I cannot find it in the United States to even be delivered to the United States. So I'm just like sitting in agony thinking about that. And I'm allergic to chocolate, by the way, for anybody who's listening to this and doesn't know. So the fact that I was able to find a chocolate bar that I'm not allergic to, mostly because if anyone knows anything about Melka, it's all just sugar. But
Yeah, and fat. Sorry, and fat.
oh, definitely everything bad.
Just like tons of lard and sugar.
Oh yeah.
Says something about their production, because you can eat it and you're allergic to chocolate. So
Exactly.
there you go.
So I miss that. But I'll be back soon. And hopefully next time it won't
Hopefully.
be as stressful as having to keep a mask on my face the entire time and washing my hands all the time. Although washing my hands all the time is something that should naturally happen with traveling.
Yes.
If anything, it's made me more aware of the crazy things I would do when I was traveling, like sleeping on my coat that I'd been sitting in the airport in. Having my face all up in other people's germs with my coat on, like, as a pillow.
Yes.
Or maybe you can come to the U.S. next time.
Yeah.
We'll see what
Why not?
happens.
Maybe. I definitely would not be that concerned as you were when you were
Yeah.
coming here. I mean, I kind of told you like it's going to be fine, and in the end it was fine in terms of like more of corona related things than anything else.
Ended up being great.
It was great.
Well, we hope you enjoyed our episode on travel. Tune in next week for another exciting topic. And as always, we have a lot to talk about.